topics, all right? So step 2. Let me pause you there. Before we could put them into categories, right? What do we have to be able to do?
Organize our notes.
Organize them, but what do we have to do to organize them? So we've already reread them and understood them. What else?
Find out what they're talking about.
What do you mean by that?
By like when you read them, it's just like children's right, put them in the category that's talking about that.
Okay, so we're gonna have to chunk our notes and determine which ones actually make sense together. Okay, so second step is chunk your notes. All right, great. Once we've identified which notes, let's practice that really quickly. Let's do that. Raise your hand. Tell me which of these I can actually chunk together. Which of these can I actually chunk together? LaDeja's checking. Rakai is reading over them at 0. Charles already has an idea. What do I need to do to chunk them together? Kira's checking. I'll give you a couple more seconds. Which ones go together? Rakai, what do you think?
Where it said the 17-year-old shot in the head and 2 men shot her on the bus because she was going to school.
Okay, so this could be a chunk. What else could be a chunk in my notes? Cash, what do you think?
I think when it says the boys didn't silence us with. Never mind.
How does each of these chunks relate to the question you want them to answer?
Kiara, what else could be a chunk?
I think where it says doesn't want revenge for rights of every child
Good, so we can chunk this together. Now, how would us being able to chunk these notes help us to answer our question or investigate teen activism? Why is it important that we're chunking? Janasia really knows. Does anybody else know? Why would it be important for us to chunk our notes to help us answer this question? Janasia, go ahead.
because then you can come up with your category name.
Okay, then you can come up with category names, and what else? When you're actually writing, why would that be important? What do we have to make sure to do when we're college-bound writers? Why would that be important? Did you want to give it a try, Kendra? Take a risk? No? America, what do you think? Why would it be important that we are very clear about the categories of our notes when we're actually writing?
So it can be more information organized.
Yes, we want an organized text. Show America love, right? We don't want a text that is all over the place. So, first step, reread notes. Second step, chunk notes. Third step, you guys have already said it. We're going to identify our categories and our topics and connect them together. So step 3.
As I write this down, I want some of you boys to think about why, because you will answer.
Step 3, identify
Nice cue.
commonalities.
Is it because they're so quiet? No, it's because you're
So
lying.
your paper equals my board. And connect chunks. All right, so we're going to identify the commonalities and connect the chunks. Step 4, what do you think step 4 could be? If I'm going to try to create a map that looks like this, I've identified my notes that go together. What do I physically need to do on my paper to actually identify the commonalities? Let's see. What do I actually need to do to identify the commonalities? Cameron, what do you think? What should I do next? If I've already chunked my notes together, and I've already identified the commonalities, what do I physically need to do on my paper to make sure I remember that they have something in common?
Write it down.
Okay, so it's already written down. What could I do though to show myself as a visual that these two things are connected? What could you use? What does this example use? A map. What do you notice in between these boxes? Arrows. So what could I draw on my notes? Arrows or lines, right? Good. So that's step 4. Draw a line. Your paper equals my board. Draw a line. To connect chunks. And let's take it a step further. After I've drawn the line, am I going to always remember why I drew that line, what they have in common?
Nope.
Probably not. So what should I do after that? Dominique, I noticed you were into it. What should I do after that?
Write the category name.
Yes, perfect. And write category or topic. How's it going, Christian? Can you see? Your paper should equal my board. When I get this down, Hector's writing silently. You got step 4? Write that last word. All right, so moving on to step 5. We only have 2 more steps before we're done with how to map out or organize our notes. Lord, is he still with us?
Mm-hmm.
Pick your head all the way up. Step 5. Look back at my notes. I already skipped to this step on my notes. What did I do while watching the video on power learning to enhance my notes that I had already taken? What did I do? I see 3 risk takers. Anybody else? 4 risk takers. What did I do? Katie?
Added more detail.
Yes, I added more detail or I added to my notes. What is something that I could have done or I can go back and do instead of just adding information? What else could I go back and add? If I'm a true journalist and I'm investigating something, what did we talk about yesterday on our anchor chart? What's step 2 that we talked about yesterday? What could I do on my notes after I've power learned? Keelan.
Ask questions.
Ask questions. Great. So step 5. Add side notes and ask questions. All right? And then we have, why would it be important to add side notes and then ask questions if I'm a journalist or if I'm a college-bound scholar in general? After taking notes, why should I add side notes and ask questions? Gabe, what do you think? Why would it be important that I'm asking or I'm writing down side notes and then asking myself questions on my notes after power learning? How is that going to help me as a journalist? Well, think about it. If I just end my notes after what I've written, is that being a good investigator? What if I'm wondering something about what she spoke about at the UN, or what if I'm wondering what she did after she spoke at the UN, how she continued to be an activist? Why would it be important that I write down notes? Okay, to know more about what she's talking about, but what else? I would be continuing my what? I would be continuing my notes, but while I'm writing those notes, where would I get my information from? I would have to continue what? But what am I writing down though? Where am I getting that information? From where? From her, but what else? Where else could I look outside of her? You got it. Where else can I look? If I have the internet at my fingertips, what could I do? Continue to research, right? So why would it be, thank you, why would it be important to continue researching and asking questions? Cache. Why would that be important?
To gather different information.
Yes, different perspectives, good teamwork, all right? So, Last step, once we've done all that, to bring everything home, what do we need to make sure we do? If we are writing with a purpose, all right, if we're making sure that we are addressing this concept of teen activism, after we take our notes, after we've mapped them out, what should we then do to make sure we're on the right track for our writing piece? What should we make sure we do last? What should we make sure that we do last? I want to see new hands. I have 3 hands who I've already heard from, 4 hands who I've already heard from. What should we make sure we do at the very end? What do you think, Hector? Speak up so your classmates can hear you. After I've written my notes, I've gone back, mapped them out, and I know I have to write a text on teen activism, what should I go back and do before I start my writing? Cache is so on it today, so is Charles. What do you think? Speak up so we can help you out. Okay, somebody help Hector out. What should we do? Cache.
Like put it all together and like.
Put it all together, but what do we go back to, Hector? Okay, we're looking at our notes. So after we look and map out our notes, what should we go back to?
Why are we doing all of this?
Somebody want to help him out? LaDeja, what do you think?
Then you go through the steps again and see how you like what you've got.
That might be helpful, but going through the steps, what else can we go through to make sure that we've got it accomplished?
Why are we doing all of
Why would we even be taking notes? What are we trying to do? Nikira, help LaDeja and Hector out.
Go through your notes and make sure you have enough information
To answer what?
to answer the question.
To answer the question. So LaDeja, why do you need to make sure to go back through? Yes, Hector, why do you need to make sure you go back through? Yes, to see if you have enough information to answer the questions. And if you don't, what do you need to do? Keep going, right? Good. So step 6. Last step. Go ahead and write it down. Go back. And check if all questions are answered. And if not, continue research.
Why are these steps important as a journalist? Why are these steps important as a lifelong learner?
One more question before we get into our on-demand. Why are these steps important if we are lifelong learners? Why would it be important that we take time after we've power learned and taken notes to map our notes out? Why is this important as lifelong learners? Think about it for a couple of seconds. Why would this be important? When I say go, turn and talk to the same partner you talked to earlier at a voice level 1. Be prepared to share your answer out. Here's your question one more time. Why would it be important that we actually take time to stop and map out our notes together? You have 15 seconds to talk with your partner. Go.
Look at the eyes of your non-talkers, but you're gonna want them to share out.
All right, bring it back together. 0 and 5, 4, 3, heads up and 2, heads up and 1, 0. Zeal's ready to hear. Asia's ready. Asia, pencil down. Nathan, why is it important to do this as lifelong learners?
It's important to do this so that you understand what you're talking about and you can refer to it when you have a test.
Okay, good. So we're going back to that lifelong skill of knowing how to organize notes, power learning, and then being able to study later. All right, great. So here's your next step. When I say go at a voice level 0, you're going to access what I'm going to call text sets. I have, let me show you. gone ahead and done some work